Well, welcome everyone. For those of us that are time bound, it is about the start of a wonderful long holiday weekend. Thanks to all of our hard union folks in this country that make Labor Day possible. So we're so glad that you're here with us on this Thursday before many people are, I think, taken off. But it's such a wonderful group that we have with us here today. I knew it would be a huge draw. Just to let you know, our Community Voices series from MyCan, it's about a year and a half that we've been doing this, and we've really been engaging local groups from across the state so that they can get to know each other, so we can learn from each other and share our successes and our failures and how to learn from them. And I'm just so glad to have Solidarity on the MyCan team and in the MyCan network because y'all are part of our steering committee. You're helping us plan this little summit thing we got going on, and it's just been a really wonderful partnership. So I got just a couple pieces that I want to share with everybody, and then we're gonna turn things over to the Solidarity team that's on here with us today. I know most of you have probably signed our Line 5 petition before, but I do just want to bring it up again because we are changing the target a little bit. You know, you might have heard about this little change in the president and who's running. It's been a pretty interesting couple months. So we are now, instead of targeting President Biden, we are targeting Secretary Pete Buttigieg. And many of you know he lives here in Michigan. He's our Secretary for Transportation. We think that that target might help move the needle in the next little bit. So just wanted to update everybody quickly on that. I'll throw the links in the chat as we go. And we are also doing some of the energy success stories, right? I think everybody on here is aware of the Inflation Reduction Act as well as its limitations, right? We really push back against the IRA because it is focused on tax credits and doesn't include enough equity in our opinion. And so if you've got a story about that, or if you've got a story about how some of these dollars are working for you, we would love to hear that. We want to tell the good, the bad, the hard. I figure every time I've done work on my house, it did not go as planned. And I bet there's some stories out there, right, that we could be sharing. Please help us out with that if you got just another second. And all types of folks, builders, local folks, whatever you got. And our big campaign right now as we head into Summit, we've been running Earth Day to Election Day since Earth Day. We started with campaign questions, and really that's our mission that's in the middle of that slide. What MyCan is all about is movement building, right? We are trying to create a justice-centered movement and get everybody possible working together as well as we can. And we've really been doing, I think, a nice job with this voter piece this year. We asked these questions to everyone who is running for the Michigan House this year that is up for election. And these are some of the questions that we asked them around the renewable energy standards and community solar, campaign finance, public transportation. These were really came out of our steering committee as the issues we care the most about. And they're also really framed around the bills that were passed last fall, the Clean Energy and Jobs Act of 2023, and how we can go even further and do even better with those pieces. And they're just too fun. So Amanda, I don't know, I changed it up on you a little bit because I know what we were talking about today. We've gotten some results, right? About 28 folks have answered our questions. There's bipartisan in the folks who have answered our questions out there. Please go take a look here. I'll put that in the chat. But again, some of the questions we're asking, you know, how can we raise that cap from 1 to still a paltry 10%? Shouldn't we just eliminate it? Everybody who's answered our questionnaire says, yes, these are climate candidates that we can support. Do you support policies that enable us to build our own, right? This is about community solar. Only one person said no to that. We're educating voters here. We got to elect these folks who know that community solar is the way forward. There's that line 5. Oh, it's always contentious, right? People don't even want to answer that one. Got a couple no's. We know that's a tougher piece, but we got to be having these renewables and the alternative there, right? And the last one, right? I know many of you work on the Take Back Our Power campaign. We applaud that effort. We lift it up wherever we can. If we are able to get that utility money out of politics, we might have a better chance, right? And 25 of the folks said yes. And yeah, thanks, Amanda. Candidates from all parties have answered this on the distributed generation. So we are getting our message out there, right? And the more that we can be heard, as our campaign talks about being a climate voter, the more they'll know we're watching, and this is what we expect of every candidate. If you have seen these, hopefully you've seen some of these around, but a lot of our local groups in the steering committee are also asking their county and city level folks climate questions. And you can check out what they're asking them and help support them, from Grand Rapids to White Lake to Detroit, help them out with those candidate answers. And everybody is getting yard signs. So if you haven't seen one of these and you're with one of these local groups, you can get one of those, or you can get the MyCan one and put it up there. I was really glad to hear someone in our meeting the other day say, that's the only sign I need, because it says everything. And I thought, well, we're finally doing it right. So those are a few of the things that we're trying to do. And I hope you see how they support groups like what Soulardarity is out there doing the real frontline work every single day. And again, knowing that you all are coming to the summit. I know maybe you've heard just a little bit about it, right? I know that it's going to be a wonderful day. And I really see today's talk from Solidarity as a great preview of the wonderful programming, right? Talking about energy democracy. It's a highlight of the summit, and you all are just going to get this amazing preview today. And I hope you'll come join us again in September to talk even further and to see everybody in person. Won't that be fun? That's always the best part. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our colleagues here. Know that we've got a couple more of these to go to get our whole steering committee to have presented and know each other. So we'll be hosting another one of these in October and then November to close out this whole series. But we want to hear from Solidarity today. So I'm going to stop sharing that screen and turn it over to Michelle, and whoever is Odessa today, go for it.
And thank you, Denise. Thank you, Amanda. We have been excited about this opportunity also. Um, you know, we're looking forward to the summit. Last year, truly enjoyed ourselves, and this year we're bringing more people with us. So today with us is Raphael. Raphael's wave a hand or something. um, and Max, I know Max is on because I saw Max. We were discussing. Raphael is our how no our program one of our program coordinators. Max Boyd is our Highland Park coordinator. Everything Max does centers around making sure Highland Park gets what it needs and is seen. And we do, I think Odessa is on. I cannot go through this whole list to figure it out. So, but I think the real Odessa might be on. She is also one of our co-program managers. Um, Monica might be on. Monica is our energy democracy educator coordinator. She kind of stepped in and I stepped over a little bit. So I'm enjoying having her next to me, working with me in this area. I am now the community and programs engagement monitor. And so we stay quite busy and quite active. And for those that are on who don't understand where Highland Park is coming from when it comes to energy democracy, let me give you a little background. Um, Solidarity was founded in 2012 when the city government at that time made an agreement with DTE that allowed them to repossess the street lights, our residential street lights, in order to rectify a bill. So DTE didn't just turn the street lights off, they came and dug them up out of the ground, literally. They dug them up with neighbors watching and neighbors thinking they were getting new street lights, only to realize that they were having no street lights. So our founder, Jackson Copel, founded with the idea of replacing those street lights with solar powered street lights. And as of today, we do have 17 solar powered Wi Fi capable streetlights in Highland Park, Michigan, that were put in by Solidarity. We partnered with Avalon Village, Mama Shoe. And if you drive down Avalon Street at night, you will see 5 of our street lights lighting up the street. And if you turn around and go down another block, you'll see pitch black. When there is a power outage in Highland Park, the main street lights go out. So I live right off of John R. The corner of John R. and my street gets pitch black. You cannot see anything. I did have a picture I had taken during a power outage, and the only thing you could see was the flash of my camera on a stop sign. And so it's a very dangerous situation when Highland Park is dark. But like I said, we're working on lighting Highland Park up. Our new ED, Shamika Nichols, jumped into those big shoes that Jackson left and began to fill them fully. She has expanded the reach of Soulardarity in every area of energy democracy. We have expanded our community education. We just recently did a just transition workshop. We just last week, well, 2 weeks ago, did an organizers boot camp. We stay busy trying to make sure the community is getting what it needs. We have hosted a ratepayers utility assistance clinic here in Highland Park, where we were able to assist, I believe, 18 families with their bills. But we've gone further than that. Just a few weeks ago, Solidarity was able to pay almost $90,000 in bills. We paid phone bills, we paid DTE bills, we paid water bills, we paid internet bills. We were able to help people who either were in shut off or already or about to be shut off keep their energy on. So solidarity is small, but we work hard. Okay. And believe me, you feel it. We work hard. Um, Another thing that Solidarity has worked very hard with, and I'm just going to introduce it and I'm going to turn it over to Raphael. We received the CLEAP grant, Communities Local Energy Action Program grant, to do more studies on how we could be a more resilient, affordable, and have more economic opportunities in the city of Highland Park. So, Raphael, if you're on, could you jump in and give a little bit? And I do mean a little bit, Raph. If I put my finger up, that means stop.
That is completely fair, because I do tend to get too excited because of all the things that we're doing, and I want to share it all. So yes, please, Michelle, and then do the if I'm going too long. And here I am already going too long. So yeah, Communities Leap. That is something that the staff of Solidarity are particularly proud of, because it's really a huge step of not just of a partnership, but acknowledgement of the challenges and issues that frontline communities like Highland Park are going through. So it's a partnership with the federal government's Department of Energy and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. And we were one of 24 cities in the country chosen to be part of this first cohort, and it was a very competitive one, because it isn't just a partnership to bring in technical assistance for Highland Park when it comes to renewable energy infrastructure to its grid, but it is also a potentially great portal for the communities to get on a pathway towards actual implementable infrastructure projects. So I put a link in the chat, which takes you to energy.gov's page for Highland Park's Communities Leap partnership. And we've already gone through the completion of this cohort, and it has produced 4 technical assistance reports that are Depending on how wonky you like to get with it, it's a treasure trove of information for the city of Highland Park when it comes to our housing stock and its need for energy efficiency, and then also when it comes to a grid study. That is a really big one as well too, because they also did a study of the grid for Highland Park, from a remote perspective, in addition to bedrock information that we had already created. And that was another very fulfilling part about this, was that it wasn't just employees from the federal government coming into a community like ours telling us what we need to do, what we need to implement. They listened to us. And by us, not just Soulardarity, but also Parker Village, Avalon Village, both also based in Highland Park, and then also with the city government's Department of Engineering and Water. That was a really, really fulfilling experience to go through, because not only did we get to work with already long-standing partners, but in a way, we kind of built a bridge of a gap between frontline community organizations in Highland Park and the city government, because in the time that led up to that, there have been some major distances built between city services and organizations like ours. And we're now at a point where we're collaborating with each other. We've even recently just had a city council session to introduce a new ordinance that is going to finally bring things up to date for renewable energy projects, to really clear the path for us to take this technical assistance in partnership with the city council and the mayor's office, as well as all the departments of the city that are relevant to this kind of work, and start to strategize and vision with each other what we can do in the community. So I strongly encourage you, take a look at this, at the link that I put in the chat. The reports are a little bit scrolling down, towards the bottom, but it's labeled, titled Communities Leap Technical Assistance Resources, and you'll find all of the reports that were generated out of this. And I hope that it's, when you look at it, you'll see some similarities and some valuable resources of information for your own community that might give you some ideas on how you can start to approach maybe similar challenges that your community is going through when it comes to getting on the pathway towards a renewable energy future.
Thanks, Ralph. That was great. I had the airplane ready, but I didn't need to use it, so that's good.
Thanks, Michelle.
Oh, we've also done some major legal intervention work. We have gone as far as going to Lansing to help educate our legislators. And sometimes that can be a little disheartening, because they give you the image of, yes, oh yes, I agree with you, that's so great, oh thanks for coming, and then you turn around and find out they didn't vote what you thought they were going to vote. But we continue to work towards keeping our voices and the voices of frontline communities in their ear, and reminding them that we're the ones that elected you. Okay. We might not have been the ones that put the campaign money in your pocket, but we are the ones that voted and elected you, and you're supposed to represent us. Uh, and we have pushed against the rate hikes that DTE continues to ask for. We were one of the partnering organizations that insisted that the Michigan Public Service Commission hold an open hearing and that those comments be put on the official record. And so they came down to Wayne County Community College downtown campus. When they got here, they were expecting about 100 people. We had 200, near 250. They planned on dismissing at 8 o'clock. They ended up staying till 9. because we wanted to make sure as many voices were heard and on that official record as possible. And this is when they asked for, I think it was the $366 million hike, which they only got 30 million. But then they turned around and asked for quite a bit more. And are steady axing. And guess what? We're going to continue pushing back against it to make sure the voices in our community are heard. I want to give Max a chance to speak about what's going on specifically in Highland Park. So, Max, hey, step up to the mic.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Mama Jones. Yeah, so we have a lot of different things going on in and around Highland Park. As Michelle so eloquently put our story, the way that I usually like to explain it to people is that in Highland Park and in areas surrounding like it, when we started off with an issue, we kept peeling back the layers and finding more. So the street lights, it's like, oh man, we need to put back these street lights, let's make them solar powered. Peel back the layer, needing to get involved with local government. Peel back the layer, needing to get involved in regional government. Peeling back the layer, oh my goodness, look at these DTE bills are so high for people and residents. Peel back the layer, these houses are so old. We need to be able to weatherize them, electrify them, put solar on them. And as you keep unveiling the layers, it's so funny because Soulardarity just doesn't get deterred. They're massive issues, and we're taking them head on every single time. And so Highland Park, one of the things right now, and you know, Raphael shared some of the good news is that a solar ordinance is in place to be able to hopefully get voted on, to be able to have some things in place for this new technology that we know is not new, but should have been definitely implemented. But we're hopeful about that. But we're also hopeful because we have 10 solar streetlights. We're still committed to the original vision that we started out with. And so we still want to put streetlights in our city. And we have a site where we have 10, they're funded, they're ready. We got the people ready to put them in. And we've got a little bit of a red flag or a yellow flag on the play as it comes to the politicking of everything. So we're trying to make sure to push that all the way through. That's one of the biggest things that we got going in Highland Park. The second thing she made mention of is education. Education in Highland Park is a huge, huge deal. To be able to know your rights with DTE when they try to shut you off, to be able to know these different things and be able to know how to organize. We did that organizer boot camp because we're like, we want to put into your hands, not just people that have full-time jobs that are in these types of spaces, but are being able to say, I'm a resident, I know how to organize, I know how to power map, I know how to figure out like where the key players are. I know how to, you know, gather my neighbors and friends around a certain idea. I know how to go get information. All of that different stuff is a huge deal. So that's the second thing that we got going on. The third thing that is really exciting is it's still in the works. We're still working on a lot of different things about it, but it's a program called Whole Homes, Whole Communities. And it is a program that speaking of our legal intervention, my wonderful friend Raphael could say a little bit more about it. But in the year, a couple of years ago, when DTE was going for their IRP plan, which is Integrated Resource Plan, we legally intervened and said, hey, you're forgetting some people over here in Highland Park in Detroit, y'all. And so we legally intervened, and out of it came an $8 million settlement that was split with us and another organization that's awesome called We Want Green Too. And we'll be utilizing and leveraging those funds for direct home repair, weatherization, electrification, and solar for residents inside of Highland Park, and then on the east side of Detroit as well. So we're really excited. That program is still in the works, and so we don't have all of the nuts and bolts quite yet, but we're hoping to launch it later this year to be able to fully roll that out, which will be super exciting. And as Mama Jones stated, the last thing in Highland Park we got going on is that we are very committed to staying in lockstep and locked arms with the partners that are going forward with our same values. So Parker Village and Avalon Village have formed, and you heard Raphael talk about CLEAP. Well, that was done through HPC3, which started in the pandemic, Highland Park Community Crisis Coalition, looking to be able to arm residents and people with the things that they need to be able to withstand crises. And together we still meet. We're still coming out with more things to be able to do, and doing so with partners that are in Highland Park and then beyond Highland Park. So I don't want to get too long-winded before I get the airplane too, but that's a few of the different things that we got going on in the Highland Park scope of things. There's a lot more, but I'll go ahead and land the plane right there.
Thanks, Max. We are so super busy, and happily seeing some of the results we want to see is what fuels us and motivates us to keep going. Um, Monica, could you clip a little bit about education and what's going on in that area so far as Solidarity and Highland Park is concerned?
Yeah, for sure. Y'all have shared so much of our good work already, and Max, I think you put it great too, of like right how this started, as Michelle shared with the taking up the street lights, but how through that process we understand that it was like not just um the need of reinstalling street lights, but also understanding that this is a broader systemic issue and kind of seeing those different layers and through that understanding, okay, this is an issue of needing to center energy democracy. And so, with that understanding that those who are most burdened by energy, so those who have the highest bills, those who experience the most blackouts, power outages, shutoffs, those with the weaker grid, right? Because in Highland Park and in the Detroit area, the grid system itself is it's like 2G in comparison to the surrounding suburbs, where it's like a 5G grid, to kind of get an idea of that difference. But like understanding, okay, well, those folks who are experiencing this burden should have a say in where their energy is coming from, how it's sourced, how much they're paying for it, if they're paying for it at all, right? And so in that's why we've been doing these kind of educational events like our organizer boot camp that we had, which was a 1.5 day event to educate people on what is energy democracy, what is the kind of history of our utilities, and understanding that DTE is this investor-owned utilities that's prioritizing profits over people, and how they became this monopoly that is now preying on specifically low-income Black and Brown folks and really pushing for energy democracy, encouraging people to say like, hey, you can come together with community members and make a change and really push for things. You can speak and make public comment at the Michigan Public Commission Service, and you can work with us to be able to like build a better energy grid that works for us as people. I will also share I think we have it on our website, I can't remember, but we have our blueprint for energy democracy, which is kind of like our like organizing guide. And it outlines the various areas in which it's like, okay, how can we, work through this path of reaching energy democracy. So having a government that's accountable to us. So working with the legislator and really pushing them, as Michelle said, having healthy homes. So doing that through our whole homes, whole community work, making sure that folks have weatherizations within their homes. If they want solar on their roof, supporting to make sure that the roof can accommodate for solar, making sure that there are like job opportunities and career opportunities within the, oh, thank you for dropping that, Raphael, within the green sector, for folks who want that and need that. And in the past, we've had trainings for folks who are interested in that. We've had Rise Up training so people can understand how to implement solar within their community. So that way, low-income folks, Black and Brown folks, women who maybe don't have the opportunity can do so. Equitable development, sustainable infrastructure, all of those things. So yeah, I would encourage folks to check out our blueprint for energy democracy. And I'll also add one thing that hasn't been mentioned, and Raphael can probably speak to this more too, is just like some of our resiliency work. So as y'all know, we had a very, very hot summer. We're still, that heat is still eking through, even as we speak, right? This week has been very hot. And so, with climate change comes all of these extreme weathers and heat waves. And so we were able to get a $10,000 grant to create 100 cooling kits to give out for free to the community. So that way people who are experiencing this heat wave, who might also end up experiencing, a power outage or have unreliable or old air conditioning systems can like have a kit for when this crisis happens to be able to keep themselves and their family cool. And it included a solar powered like charging port for your phone. It included a battery powered fan. It included a reusable water bottle and some other stuff that I'm forgetting. But yeah, so definitely working on that as well.
Thanks, Monica. I forgot about the cooling kits. I meant to mention that. Yeah, they were really nice. They came in an insulated bag. So if you needed to get some ice and put in the bag and keep some food cold, you were able to do that. And we gave out, what we gave out? About 100? I think so. But anyway, they were really nice. So I'm going to leave space here for questions and answers and whatever else. Back to you, Denise.
Absolutely. Wow, you guys are busy. And I hope that everyone can see how fun this group is as well, right? So when you get to see them on the stage and come to their events and go to the organizing boot camps, it's just y'all have such a wonderful way that you work together. Happy to open this up to some questions, comments. This can be discussion, right? This doesn't need to be like a formal raise your hand kind of thing. We trust you. You can say it in the chat. You could raise your hand if you want me to call on you. If you want to unmute, you got something to ask or say to all these fine folks. Happy to hear it. And the only thing I forgot to mention is y'all won your volunteer won our award last year for this work. Stephanie Johnson, who I don't think is with us today, for all of this work, we wanted to recognize the volunteer spirit that y'all are really getting folks excited about. And she got our highest award last year. We're privileged to give that to her. So too bad she's not here to see her in person again. Would be fun. What folks got out there? I'm talking to give you time to get some questions and pieces out in your mind. What do you want to know? You've got one of the leading groups in the whole country, folks, working on this right now. At your disposal.
I got a question to kick us off. So, Michelle, I know I've gotten to work with you guys on the panel we're planning for the summit, and you also talked about some of it here today too, that you've worked with other organizations outside of Highland Park, and I know that you're kind of a leader in this space, right? And so I wondered if you could talk a little bit more about the work you've done with other groups and potential possibilities, because we have a lot of people from all over right now on the call. So maybe they're interested in working with Soulardarity and if there's any possibility for that kind of collaboration.
Thank you, Amanda. Yes. We have worked with quite a few of the groups. And the main ones I think of off the top of my head is MEJC and CJA. We work extensively with them and have for several years. Raphael can tell you some more. Michelle doesn't keep all the acronyms in her head. I think I'm one of the older members of the group. So but we because CJA was helping us with our organizers boot camp this past 2 weeks. We had Piper, Anaqua, and Carlos working with us and actually facilitating with us. Hopefully, I haven't gotten a definite, but hopefully MEJC will be on the panel with us with Kamal. We've worked with We the People, Kamal's We the People, I'm sorry. And Ralph mentioned We Want Green too. Monica, Ralph, help me here.
Yeah. I seem to be running the theme of like really wonky spaces. So I'll keep that going because one that I'm really like a body of work that I really enjoyed that came out of collaboration with an external group was with an organization called Union of Concerned Scientists. They helped us put together a report called Let Communities Choose, which was specifically focused on Highland Park. And they, it was our first really experience of bringing in a formalized goal of a body of work like this that actually was incredibly instrumental to help us get to the point of Communities Leap. We weren't, when we did this, we, beyond just getting the story of Highland Park and its renewable energy journey into a neat and tidy package, as neat as you can get it. We didn't realize that it was actually going to help us get to those next stepping stones. And so that's one example of a partnership / collaboration with an outside organization. Union of Concerned Scientists, by the way, is based in Chicago, not in Michigan, but they have been a staunch partner of ours, and even are part of other spaces as well, beyond just one-on-one collaborations like that.
Also, we work with the Sugar Law Clinic. They have been extremely helpful with our utility ratepayers clinics that we've done. Liz Jacobs has come and trained and facilitated those clinics to make sure that ratepayers know their rights when it comes to dealing with DTE. So anyone who wants to work with us that has the goal of making sure that grassroots, frontline, BIPOC communities are heard where they need to be heard, please just go over to Soulardarity, SOULARDARITY.org. And you will find how you can help us. Become a member, become a sponsor, become a donor, become someone that can help us facilitate in making sure not just Highland Park, but I'm serious, all marginalized, BIPOC, frontline, grassroots communities are heard. Okay, everybody else gets heard. Now, I'm gonna give you just a little brief something that's going on even right now in our community. DTE has dug up my street from one end to the other to put in new meters. I mean, it's ugly. It's not like they did it nicely. They dug up the sidewalks and then they dumped some blacktop over where they dug up. My front yard looks terrible. They dug up the dirt in my front yard. They dug up half the sidewalk and then they put some gravel where the sidewalk was. But they don't want to put the lines underground. And so we're getting all of this going on around us. I mean, all of our streets, literally. Woodward has been dug up in Highland Park. I haven't seen it so much in Midtown. I haven't seen it so much when you get into Royal Oak and Ferndale. But over here in Highland Park, they have dug up Woodward. Okay. And so it's almost as though the smaller communities, the BIPOC communities are being taken advantage of in every area. And these are the ones that suffer the most. Okay. And I had to get in a deep discussion. Thank you, Ralph, for always giving me such detailed information, because I had to get in a deep discussion with someone when I made the statement that we carry the energy burden bill. And it was like, no, we all pay the same. No, we don't. Your house is well energy efficient. You have energy efficient windows. Okay. So you're not losing energy out of your windows. You have AC air conditioning in your whole house. Over here, my home is over 100 years old. The home I live in is over 100 years old. It has the original single pane windows. We are in the process of trying to get better. Okay. We don't have central air conditioning. We just put in some splitter units because if we didn't, we couldn't stay here when the temperature hits 90 degrees. Imagine a community where the majority of its residents are older, elderly, and many are on some type of medical situation. When it hits that 90 degrees, it becomes a health hazard, a true health hazard. And so we're fighting to make sure their voices are heard. Because Highland Park has been in the dark for so long, sometimes the mindset has also gotten very hopeless. People feel like, don't nobody care, so why? And so we're asking you to step on board and to augment our voices so that everybody is heard, because climate change is not going anywhere. It's only getting worse. And if we all don't step on now, Even those that feel like they don't have a problem eventually will suffer. So we invite you, come in with Solidarity.
That's right. I'm so glad we're recording that, Mama Jones. That was a great prelude there. I wanted to just say a little bit about how y'all are really uplifting the idea of engagement, right? And I love all your materials always talk about democracy, and it's near and dear to our heart here at MyCan too. That's why it's climate civics at the summit this year, because
Mhm.
we really all, what you're really expressing so well is we won't solve this without responsive, accountable, democratic governments, right? And I mean that in the small d way, like
Mhm.
and that's not happening, right? You see that we see that our governments are not responsive, and we talk about the voices that need to be heard and the folks who want to see these actions go forward, and they're not happening. And there's just no way we're going to get there without that piece. And engaging folks is a lot of work, right? Organizing is the answer, and it's a lot of work. And I just always come back to the soul of Solidarity, and how you all are doing this work is so impressive to me in your community, that you're keeping that joy alive. And Michelle, you said just a little bit to my question, which was, how do you keep yourselves going? It's the community, maybe it's getting some results. How do you all stay so, what we see as so joyful and driven and united in this work, while really pushing the envelope as hard as you possibly can? And I think folks would benefit from understanding how that happens within the confines of the organization, and how you make that work seem so fun.
Well, I don't know about the word fun, but um, first of all, the majority of our staff, well, no, not maybe the majority, but a lot of our staff lives right here in Holland Park. And therefore, we feel the same thing that all of the people we're serving are going through. We're dealing with the exact same thing. Those that are outside come into Holland Park, and they're exposed to, man, it's something wrong with this picture. And so that helps to keep us motivated. Definitely the wins that we get, even if they're small, like being able to help people pay their bill. Oh my God, that was the most exciting, energy generating thing in the world, to know that we were able. I mean, we didn't make it hard for them. People get discouraged when they go through the system because they want to know, how much did you get paid? When did you last get paid? What color was the paycheck? What color ink was on the paycheck? And it's like, I've been there. I'm a mother of 8. I'm a widow. Okay. And when my husband passed, I yet had 6 kids at home. Believe me, and DTE did not get along at all. Okay. And then there wasn't this type of help available. So I had to go through the system. And I can remember picking up that packet to fill it out and sitting down and crying because they were asking for so much information. Just literally broke down in tears and cried. But we didn't do that to people. We asked a few questions. We didn't want to know what color the paycheck was. Okay. All we wanted to know was, do you need help? And how much of it can we help you with? Okay. And the majority of the time, we took on the whole thing. We paid the whole thing. And we weren't asking all that information. And folks came back and said, you know what? I appreciate it so much. You helped me. I was wondering how I was going to make it through next month. Now I can go buy groceries and not have to worry about next month. That's the stuff that keeps you going. Yeah. And so far as the joy you see, it's just the team. I got to give Shamika credit. We have a ED who takes good care of her team. Okay. Uh, Shamika pushes for self care. Okay. She's not just saying, okay, you got 3 days here. No, she's like, so do you need? Okay, what do you need? Okay, go ahead. We got this. I lost my son 2 years ago, suddenly and unexpectedly. And it threw me for a loop. I mean, I didn't know what to do, literally. And my brain shut down because I was still trying to figure out, number one, what happened. It was totally unexpected. And Shamika says, "What do you need?" And what came out of my mouth wasn't what I expected. It said, "I need 6 weeks." She said, "Okay." And I hung up the phone saying, "Wait a minute. No, 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 no. You can't take 6 weeks off from work." you know, but the team made sure I took the 6 weeks and they looked after me. And we do that with each other. The big mama of care on the line that's not going to say anything. I wish you would, but she won't, is Odessa. Odessa's going to call and check on you. She's going to send you a text. She's going to ask, "What can I do to help you out? What can I do to assist you?" She's going to look after you. And that's the kind of team we have. And in this type of work, we got to take care of each other because this can be depressing. This can be feeling like you're not making any headway. And so you got to take the small wins and make them big.
Yeah, I mirror everything that Michelle said. It helps that we take care of each other in that sense, and it also helps that Shamika gives a lot of us a decentralized level of autonomy with our work. And we don't, it's not an executive director behavior of trying to micromanage, but also silo areas of work. She actually encourages internal collaboration, intersecting our areas of projects, making sure that we are keeping each other up to date on the big things. And that way we are able to help each other, help remind each other of the bigger picture, the mid and long-term pathways that we are on. Because to be honest, if you are not seeing a very deliberate and specific direction that your day-to-day work is taking you, then it's going to start feeling like you're just spinning your wheels in the mud.
Mhm.
And like, let's be real. A job is not just a necessity to make, currency to keep you alive. It is you giving a collection of a finite number of minutes that you have in your life. And I think everybody, you don't have to be a part of an organization like this, but I really hope that, people can get to a point in their lives where they're giving themselves to something that means something. And honestly, that's what this work does. People like Michelle, Odessa, Monica, Max, Conke, Shamika, everybody in our organization, they help every minute feel like it's worth it.
That is beautiful. We all want to come work with you. Well, we're just all going to work together. We'll keep doing it. That is exactly it. This work is difficult and challenging, and we got to take care of each other, folks. Right? We really have to take care of each other in this movement. I so appreciate the model that you're setting for all of us out here, and proud to be a part of it. Other folks got questions. What do you want to know from this team here? Doing education and organizing. And we did make sure that you get to hear this overview. MEJC will give like ratepayer stuff. We got all these great names that you heard about. Thank you for corralling them. We're going to get to see everybody in person in just a little bit here. And the EJ Summit is the Saturday after the My Can Climate Summit. So we're urging folks to make sure you stay on the east side. If you're coming over to see us, stay over for the weekend so you can go to the EJ Summit on Saturday, September 28th as well. I'll find that and throw that in the chat for folks. Other folks have questions for Soulardarity? Well, we got these busy people on the line. Now's the time.
Well, while I'm waiting, coming up, we are now in the process of preparing for our year-end gala. Looking forward to doing some celebration. So we will make sure that everybody stays in the loop about that. We want you to come out and celebrate with us. And just kind of end the year on a happy, upbeat note. So our save the date right now is December 6th. And so more information will be coming out about that. And just look forward to it. Am I missing any upcoming dates, team?
She's got the tickets live in there for you. Huh?
Okay, I don't think so.
Yeah, so
But go ahead.
oh, this is Odessa, she, her pronouns, and the co-program manager at Soulardarity. I just have so much admiration, respect, and care for the team. The work is personal and urgent, and we're all part of the community. And you know, working for the communities that we serve, we're working for each other as well. And supporting each other. So I just wanted to say that. And then our events page, we have a lot of different events that we're going to be tabling and being a part of, whether we're doing a workshop, being part of a panel, going to be putting on an educational session. We have a lot coming up, and our tickets are live that I put in the chat for the year-end gala. And I'm going to put our events page in the chat as well.
Yes, please do.
Hey, you. Lauren has a question. You can always unmute, but what do y'all listen to or read for, your own like learning, or for pieces that we can get inspired by? What do y'all listen to or reading these days?
Okay, I'm gonna throw that to Monica and probably Ralph. I think those are other than Shamika, those are the big readers.
Podcasts, what are you listening to? Good question, Max says. What you got, Max?
Okay, Max.
Oh man, I'm thinking of when I first came on. It was awesome to be able to read just all the different stuff that Solidarity has been a part of. So a lot of the news stuff that comes out. But recently, and I'll pivot it to RAF. There was a RAF. I'm forgetting the name of it, my friend. It was a large document that just came out with a lot of research. Utility something. It's not the People's Utility Justice Playbook. It is. Is it? Maybe it's that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's the People's Commons, People's Utility Commons.
There it is.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, we definitely read that. But that's a good question. I mainly put that in the chat because I'm interested in how some of the other staff members read. We have but yes, I was just about to mention that we start off every one of our internal meetings with a lot of music. And so music keeps us going 110%.
Upbeat music, And then we have our on staff my meme guy, which is Ralph. Ralph keeps us laughing all the time with something, okay? And earlier, I don't know if it was this year or last year, Shamika had us with this, but good to great in the social sectors.
Mm-hmm.
This was really good. There we go.
I don't know that one. I'll have to get that one.
This was really good. It wasn't a hard read. It's not a long read, but it gives you some thinking about why people in the social sector don't always connect immediately with the type of work we do. And that helps when you're talking to folks who aren't doing this work. And so, that was one that Shamika recommended to us to read, and I really enjoyed it. Anybody else? Monica, you got anything?
I don't know if I have anything else to add. I was gonna say the same thing that Max said. It's like when I was first onboarded, there was like a great list. There was like a lot of articles, historical context articles about our work. So I can try and drop some of that in the chat. But yeah.
Yeah, Shalonda Baker at U of M, a great suggestion. We're gonna get to meet her in September, and we try to model ourselves after Adrienne Marie Brown, and really thinking through that emergent strategy, right? Always a lesson, never a failure. Some of those precepts, right? It's the complete opposite of some of our current culture, and so it's sometimes hard to do, but that's where we are at too. Great suggestions. Rating sweetgrass. We probably have time for maybe one more question or so, if there's anything somebody out there is thinking about. Y'all are just so too impressed to even ask a question. They're gonna come in later. Have that feeling. Yeah, you got to do something to not about the work, right? Got to listen to or read that graphic novel, right, or whatever it is.
I think I'll
Well,
ask a
as I
question.
said, oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've always got lots of questions. So I know that there was a little bit of talk about during the pandemic, so I think it was a different organization, but work that was done in Highland Park that wasn't specifically around energy. And so I wondered if Solidarity touches on anything that isn't directly energy related.
With us partnering with Avalon Village and Parker Village, there have been times, yes, we've done something that's not specifically energy related, it's more community related. Parker Village, Juan Shannon has an area where he has a community garden. Okay. And I mean, he raises a little of everything. Okay. Um, Back during the pandemic, Juan was one of the first to do a resiliency kit. That thing was huge. He had staple food, um, all type of anything you could think of that you might need right there was it was so big. He gave it out in a huge, I forget how big those containers are, but it's one of them huge black and yellow containers. And it was so big, I had to get my grandson and his friend to come and get it out of my car. Okay. Because I couldn't carry it. But that was right during the pandemic. And we also did outreach during the pandemic. I see two hands, so I think Max was first and then Monica. And you only got a minute each.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the fact that we're a big fan of what's called the just transition here, which is like anything that pivots towards a world that we want and a world that's for us. And so, like one of our partners has been the Detroit Black Food Sovereignty Network, Detroit Black Community Food Sovereignty Network, excuse me. And they started the Detroit People's Food Co-op, which is a huge deal and been 14 years in the making. So, like, even though that's not necessarily energy, that's energy for your body. And so like we're big supporters of them and a lot of different organizations that may not directly overlap, but we understand that community means community, even if it doesn't directly affect the bottom line of our street lights or whatever. So we're big fans of all of those different things. Monica?
Yeah, I was going to also add that we have supported work around water justice. So within utilities, right, it's like not just an issue with energy, but there's also an issue with extremely high water bills, specifically in the Highland Park, Detroit area. And last fall, there were two different times actually where we had, as staff, myself and Odessa had went and supported with the Highland Park water advocates who were speaking to legislators in Lansing and really advocating for, stopping these predatory water practices and how people are in high debt for water bills, which should not ever be the case. And even when we did our utility assistance program, the utilities was broad beyond just DTE or consumer's bill, but it also included water as well as internet and phone bill, because we understand, right, that those are other within the broader umbrella of utilities. Those are also areas in which people profits are prioritized over people, and people struggle in those areas as well. So we want to support with that too. So that's also something that we do.
Thank you, Max and Monica.
These, as we all know, right, this movement is intersectional, and we got to be supporting each other. And the fight is the same. The message is often the same. And I knew Amanda was, you saw in the chat, she was definitely waiting for you to say water affordability. That's an area code we're thinking about, right? We're the Climate Action Network, but these things are the same fight in so many ways, that and the systems that we have to change. And so we just absolutely are grateful for all of the work that Solidarity is doing. For everyone that joined us today, you've been given a real treat and a whole host of resources in this chat, from things to read, things to listen to ways to get involved with Solidarity. And we'll be sending this back out to our network with those links, with those ways to join y'all, to become members, and to support the work that is going on. Because again, I just see it as a model for how, not only how we do the work, but for the results and the mission that you're really living. And just so proud to be a part of you, and for you to be a part of my CAM. And I can't wait to see what we all get to do next together, because we're doing this, folks. There ain't no going back, as the other slogan is saying right now, and that you aren't deterred. My CAN shares that. We remain determined every single day, and that's really what it takes. So thank you so much for being part of our Community Voices series. Any last words, Amanda, Mama Jones, Ralph, anybody else want to say anything before we hopefully have a good holiday?
Just want to say thank you for having us. We enjoy this. We love every opportunity to get our story told.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I really look forward to working with you guys more and more.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, a good holiday, and we will be back at it on Tuesday and sending all this great information out to our network. Thanks so much for joining us today, everybody.